So here's the problem. This dishwasher is only about 4 years old. This is actually longer than it runs a lot of the time. And it stopped. Now I've got an idea on how to fix it. First, remove these. You'll need one of these. Now you can pull this off. Now once you release the white tabs here, 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 and here, you should be able to pull this off. That's what we want to get to. Don't forget to turn off the power. Very carefully pull all of this stuff off of here. You want to be careful not to break anything as you remove all of these connections. Now, one thing I noticed was that with these power wires here, it might be easy to forget which side you had them connected on here if these wires were to get crossed. So I made a red mark on here that will match up with the red terminal there. Once you get that out, this should be free. Remove this circuit board from this plastic box. The reason I want to remove this is because I've already identified capacitors that I believe to be bad. Now these capacitors are good, and you can see the tops are nice and flat. These two capacitors are slightly convex on the top, and that means usually that they're blown. So again, flat, blown. I'm going to want to remove these capacitors by desoldering them from this mess. Now what I've already done is use the information printed on the side to order myself a new set of capacitors. I need to document which side is positive and which side is negative, and that's shown by the stripes here. So I'll make sure to replace that in that orientation. So right here I just have a basic hobby soldering iron, and reading up online, in order to desolder the terminals that I need, I'm going to have to use the soldering iron. Make sure it's not too hot, but it's definitely going to have to be hot enough to melt the old solder. And I guess a trick is to actually use a little bit of new solder in order to help ease some of the old stuff off. Now a lot of the guys, they have a thing called a solder sucker to get the old solder off. I don't have that, so I'm going to try to just shake it off like that. Well, there we have it. I got the two capacitors out. It took an incredibly long time. My first time desoldering anything. And the shake the solder off idea ended up being just a pathetically terrible idea. So what I ended up doing was stealing this bulb sucker. My wife's probably going to be mad at me because this was used for the baby, and so she'll have to go buy a new one. But maybe she won't be mad at me if I end up saving hundreds of dollars and not having to buy a new dishwasher. And there we go. I've got some new capacitors soldered on there in the correct orientation, and the solder job is good enough, I guess. They seem to be holding and making contact. We'll see how it goes. So now I've put the board back in, closed it up, and turned on the power at the breaker. Let's see if it works. Looks good so far. And yes, I will let this video run for a while. Well, it made it a lot further. I think that did it. Well, there we go, we fixed it. Now I'm just down one bulb sucker. But overall, I think I'm in the green.